Have you ever pondered the nature of your existence? Are you truly real, or could you be living in a simulation? A question that might sound like a science fiction plot, but it's not as far-fetched as you may think. Welcome, dear listener, to a journey into the realms of thought that will challenge your understanding of the very fabric of existence. We are about to tread the path less traveled and question the very nature of reality as we know it. Are we flesh and blood, or mere lines of code in a cosmic computer game? This is where we introduce simulation theory, a concept that suggests that our reality, everything you see, feel, hear and touch, could be nothing more than a sophisticated illusion. Imagine a reality so intricately designed, so flawlessly executed that we, the supposed players in this grand game of existence, are none the wiser. In this digital age, where virtual realities are becoming increasingly indistinguishable from our own, isn't it plausible that we could be living inside a simulation, created by a technologically advanced civilization? A civilization that could be from our distant future, or perhaps from another dimension entirely. Now you may be wondering, why would such a civilization go through the trouble of creating this elaborate illusion? Well, the reasons could be as varied as the stars in the sky. Perhaps they wish to study their past or test the outcomes of different scenarios. Or maybe they're simply bored and seeking entertainment. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The simulation theory, while fascinating, is a complex concept that demands a thorough exploration. It requires us to question our understanding of existence, consciousness, and the universe itself. It's a theory that merges the boundaries between science, philosophy, and even spirituality. So, are you ready to challenge your perceptions, to question everything you've ever known, to venture into the unknown? If so, then strap in, for we are about to dive into the depths of this mind-bending theory. Simulation theory, in its simplest form, proposes that all of reality, including the universe and humanity itself, could be an artificial simulation. Now let's unpack this a bit, shall we? Picture a civilization so advanced that it has surpassed our understanding of technology, knowledge, and power. This civilization, in its infinite wisdom and curiosity, decides to create a simulation, a virtual environment that's so intricate, so detailed, that it mirrors the complexity of their own reality. They populate this simulated universe with conscious beings who are none the wiser about the nature of their existence. These beings live, grow and evolve within the confines of this simulation, governed by a set of fundamental laws and constants. From their perspective, their reality is as real as it gets. They perceive, they feel, they dream, they aspire, and they ponder the very nature of their existence, just like we do. Now, let's take it a step further. Consider the possibility that these simulated beings, given enough time, advance to a point where they too can create their own simulations. This creates a cascading effect, a chain of simulations within simulations, each layer unaware of the ones above it. So where does this place us? Are we the creators, the original civilization that started it all, or are we somewhere down the chain, living in a reality that's merely an echo of another? This is the enigma that simulation theory presents us with. But it's not just about pondering our place in this potential cosmic hierarchy, it's also about understanding the nature of reality itself. Is reality a fixed, absolute entity, or is it subjective, malleable, and dependent on the observer? Simulation theory prompts us to question the very fabric of our existence, to look beyond the tangible and venture into the realm of the abstract. It blurs the line between the real and the artificial, between the creator and the created. Now you might be wondering, if this theory holds true, what evidence supports it? Many proponents of simulation theory point to observations in quantum physics and technological advancements as evidence. Let's delve into the realm of quantum physics first. Some theorists argue that quantum indeterminacy, the concept that the properties of particles are not determined until they are measured, could be seen as the universe only rendering detail when observed, much like a video game. The infamous double-slit experiment, where particles behave differently when observed, has been likened to a simulation saving computational resources, only defining an outcome when necessary. Next, we have the concept of quantum entanglement, often termed as spooky action at a distance. This strange phenomenon, where entangled particles affect each other's state instantaneously, regardless of the distance between them, could be interpreted as evidence of a hidden layer of reality, similar to lines of code in a computer program. Moving on from quantum physics, let's consider technological progress. The pace at which our technology is advancing is staggering. We are already creating virtual realities and simulating entire universes, albeit on a much smaller scale. If we continue to progress at this rate, it's not entirely outlandish to think that future civilizations could simulate entire universes complete with conscious beings. Moreover, the concept of ancestor simulations is often brought up. These are hypothetical simulations run by advanced civilizations to study their past. If such simulations were possible, the sheer number of them would likely outnumber the base reality, leading to the statistical likelihood that we are in a simulation. Finally, the mathematical nature of our universe is often pointed out. From the precise laws of physics to the mathematical patterns found in nature, like the Fibonacci sequence in flowers and galaxies, some argue this could be evidence of a coded reality. As fascinating as these pieces of evidence are, they are not without their critics. While simulation theory has its believers, it also has its skeptics. Indeed, not everyone is ready to believe we're living in an elaborate digital playground. Critics argue that the simulation theory, while fascinating, lacks empirical evidence. It's a theory that's difficult to test, and as such, it's often dismissed as more science fiction than science fact. One of the main criticisms revolves around the concept of computational resources. The sheer amount of computing power required to run a simulation as complex as our universe is mind-boggling. Some argue it would be impossible, even for an advanced civilization. And then there's the question of why such a civilization would want to run a simulation in the first place. Would it be for entertainment, education, experimentation? Critics argue that these motivations seem too human-centric and may not apply to a super-advanced civilization. Another counter-argument comes from the world of quantum physics. In this realm of tiny particles, things don't behave as we would expect them to in a computer simulation. Quantum phenomena like superposition and entanglement, where particles can be in multiple states at once and instantaneously affect each other over vast distances, seem to defy the logic of a simulation. There's also the philosophical counter-argument that the simulation theory is a form of solipsism, the idea that only one's mind is sure to exist. Critics argue that it's a slippery slope from simulation theory to questioning whether anything outside of our own minds is real at all, which can be a mentally unsettling path to travel. Yet, proponents of the simulation theory counter these criticisms by emphasizing that we're not yet capable of understanding or creating such an advanced simulation. They argue that our current understanding of physics and computing might not apply in a higher-level universe, and that our view of reality could be fundamentally limited by the rules of the simulation we're in. Regardless of where you stand, there's no denying the impact of this theory on our understanding of reality. Should we accept the simulation theory as truth, what implications does that hold for us? Our acceptance of this theory could potentially transform our understanding of life, existence, and reality as we know it. Imagine for a moment that we are indeed living in a simulated reality. This would mean that our lives, our emotions, our decisions, everything that makes us who we are all part of a complex program run by a higher entity. The philosophical implications here are profound. What does it mean to be real? Are our feelings and experiences any less authentic if they are part of a simulation? Now let's delve into the ethical considerations. If we are living in a simulation, does it mean that the simulators, the entities that created this reality, have complete control over our lives? If so, what does it say about our concept of free will? Are we merely puppets in a grand play, our strings pulled by unseen hands? Or perhaps the simulators have endowed us with a certain level of autonomy, allowing us to make our own decisions within the confines of the simulation. Does that make our lives any less meaningful? Perhaps not. After all, many philosophers argue that value and meaning are not intrinsic properties of the universe, but things that we as conscious beings assign to our experiences. And what about the possibility of multiple simulations? Could there be countless other realities, each one playing out different scenarios, each one housing different versions of us? This idea opens up a Pandora's box of existential questions and debates, whether or not we are living in a simulation. The simulation theory certainly provides a fascinating lens through which we can examine our existence. It challenges us to question the nature of reality and our place within it. It urges us to think critically about our lives, our decisions, and the world around us. So, as we wrap up our exploration of the simulation theory, remember this. The beauty of this theory lies not in its potential to be proven true or false, but in the questions it forces us to ask, the discussions it sparks, and the perspectives it offers. Whether you choose to subscribe to this theory or not, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of simulation theory. Until next time, keep questioning your reality.